Hey there, my name is E.W. Buckley, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk to you about chord progressions. Specifically, I want to introduce you to two concepts that are going to change the way that you write your chord progressions forever. A lot of the discussion around chords and writing good progressions is focused on two things: how the chords are spelled, meaning what notes are in your chord, and how the chords are sequenced one after another. Both of these are incredibly important to getting great sounding chord progressions. But the biggest mistake that I see beginner and intermediate producers make is simply stopping there. The spelling and sequencing of your chords is only half the battle. To create the kind of expressive, compelling chord progressions that we all want to make, we have to talk about chord voicing and chord motion. Let's jump in. So we spell chords by stacking thirds. For example, a G minor 7th chord is going to consist of the notes G, B flat, D, and F. We have our root, our third, our fifth, and our seventh. Now, when the chord is assembled this way, it's called root position. It's also considered a closed-voiced chord. Simply put, voicing is the order and spacing between the notes in your chord. And there are two types of voicing: close and open. Closed voice chords are chords that usually have as little space between the notes as possible and generally are contained within the span of an octave. Open-voiced chords, on the other hand, are spaced much wider, with the distance between two voices being no greater than an octave, with the exception of your lowest voice or your bass voice, which can be a greater distance than an octave from the other voices. So for example, if we take this G minor 7th chord here, and I take our B flat and our F, and I jump them up an octave, so we now have G, D, B flat, and F, this would be an open voice G minor 7 chord. And if we expand it, we see that the distance is root, perfect fifth, then a minor 6th, and then a perfect fifth above that. The total distance between every voice in the chord is nearly 2 octaves. This is an open voice chord. Now that you know about close and open voicing for individual chords, let's talk about their practical application within a chord progression and move on to the main thing that I want to talk to you about today: voice leading, or chord motion. So I see a lot of chord progressions that sound like this. Every chord is in root position, moving in the same direction, and while that communicates the harmony to the listener, it doesn't communicate much else. This approach treats chords as blocks that move up and down, and instead what I would encourage you is to think about chords as expanding and contracting. This framing helps give each chord in your progression its own identity, as well as creates momentum by taking advantage of contrary motion. Broadly speaking, motion has everything to do with the relationship between your highest and lowest voice in your chords. When they move opposite of one another, this is called contrary motion, and generally creates the strongest sense of momentum as you move between the chords. And you can use a mix of close and open voice chords to achieve this. If we look at this MIDI clip here, it is the same exact progression as before, but I used a mix of close and open voice chords to create contrary motion. Notice how the chords expand and contract. When the highest voice goes up, the lowest voice goes down, and that pattern continues throughout. These chords are going to feel not only more emotionally evocative because they're different voicings for every single chord, but it's also going to feel like it is going somewhere more definitively, thanks to the voice leading. This technique makes it possible to take a chord progression and voice it multiple ways. Here is the same chord progression, but voiced to have an entirely different feel. And again, using a mix of close and open voicing chords to largely create contrary motion. take the time to internalize these concepts because they are an easy and actionable way to consistently create expressive chord progressions. Okay, let's pause for just a minute. If your reaction to everything that I have shown you so far is, why has nobody ever told me this before? Then you need to hear what I'm about to tell you. The fact of the matter is that nobody has ever told you this before because nobody is teaching music theory to music producers in their own language. Most music theory content tends to focus on reading sheet music, obsessing over the music of dead German guys, and analyzing as opposed to making. And frankly, while that approach is great for a lot of people, it doesn't really work for music producers. I made my course, Step-by-Step Songwriting, Music Theory for Producers, to be the literal exact opposite of that. I teach you the fundamentals of music theory and songwriting exclusively using the piano roll. Instead of focusing on classical music, you'll see me apply these concepts directly in Ableton Live. And instead of simply analyzing music, you'll practice these concepts through a step-by-step songwriting process. I'm taking the time to tell you about this course because I only open it for enrollment once a year, and enrollment is going to open on June 30th, 2025. Enrollment will close 1 week later on July 7th, 2025, or when all 25 seats sell out, whichever comes first. So if you want to learn music theory and a killer songwriting process to boot, click the card above me so that you can join the waitlist and be first in line for when enrollment opens. And if you're watching this in the future, past the enrollment date, make sure that you're subscribed to my newsletter so that you can know when the waitlist opens again. The link to that is also in the description. Okay, let's get back to it. Now that you understand the difference between closed and open voice chords and how both are used in voice leading, let me show you some practical examples of how you can use these techniques in your productions. In this section here, each of the synths are serving a different role, and so as a result, I am voicing the progression for each of them differently. Let me play you the section. So the stab that sits at the forefront of this section, I am using the big open voicings. It is dramatic, it has a bit of melodicism to it, and I want to draw attention to it. And these are the same voicings then that I showed you in the previous section of this video. However, on its own, it doesn't really carry the section. It is big and it is bright, but it's not full. And so underneath it here, I actually have another chord progression in which I have used closed voicing and very tight voice leading to create as little movement as possible between the chords. As we can see here, wherever I can keep a note on the same note as it moves to the next chord, I'm doing so. And this achieves the opposite result. It doesn't draw attention to itself. Instead, it helps to pad out what's happening underneath. And so if I play both together, we can hear that the bottom one is providing that weight, while the top one is creating our interest that's really driving the section. Now you can use these techniques throughout your whole production. For example, in the verse here, both the ARP and the pad that's in the verse are using closed tight voicing so that they sit beneath the vocal. Here is the ARP. And here's the pad. So then both of those in context with the snippet of the vocal. Use this approach in your own music. It will give you a framework that allows you to write and use your chord progressions intentionally, which really what more can any of us ask for? If you want to learn more techniques like this that level up your songwriting while making it easier and faster, check out my course, Step-by-Step Songwriting. The link is in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, leaving comments. It truly means so much to get all the positive feedback that you all are providing me on these tutorials. I keep saying it, but I'm working really, really hard to try and grow this channel to 10,000 subscribers. And within the last month or so, I've hit a major milestone of that and made YouTube partner. And so, as you can tell, this video looks a lot better than some of my recent videos, and that's because that was the threshold that I needed to make for myself to invest in a serious camera to actually up the level of the work that I'm doing here. And it's truly all thanks to you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the nice comments. Thank you for picking up my courses and my preset packs and just generally engaging with the work that I am doing here. Till next time.